Everybody, and welcome to Friday Night Live from the Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show as we enter Game Week 32 before another international breakup. Yes, and this one with Premier League football going to be away for 3 weeks, 2 weekends, and then a third weekend with FA Cup followed by as we enter Game Week 32. Before another international breakup. Yes, and this one with... Sorry about that. Bit of volume interference there. So we are looking at 3 weeks off before we're back with Premier League football again. The calendar has the normal international break where England are playing, I think, Uruguay and Japan. Then we come back for FA Cup. Then it's back with the UEFA competitions midweek. Then the Premier League. So, yeah, and this is what it's going to be like in September next season when we have the September and October international breaks combined, which in the 26-27 season of Cloud Fantasy Football will be where the overhaul slots nicely in. So, yeah, we have a game tonight. Bournemouth v Man United. We have 4 games tomorrow on Saturday, all at different kickoff times, I think. And then 3 on Sunday. And then the last game of the actual football weekend is the EFL Cup final between Manchester City and Arsenal. So we'll have a look at the team, see how we got on. We'll have a look at the match centres from last weekend. We'll look at the leaderboard. Insights, quite interesting to see how many people actually captained one certain player on Monday Night Football last week. We'll have a look at the fixtures, a little bit of confirmation or not as to what might or might not be happening. And I've tried to have a look at John's question because he's in the chat. Evening, John. Evening, Dave. It's a little bit up in the air, but we'll see if we can find out exactly what's going on with that one fixture you questioned, John. We'll have a look at how many transfers are left. We'll have a look at the teams of the last week and the last 6 weeks. We'll look at the goals and clean sheets odds from the Solio guys. We'll have a look at Sunday ownership. Spoiler alert, there's not too many people with high ownership on whether people will be making a move on Sunday for a captain. Then we'll have a look at the stats and a look at my team, and then we'll let everybody get off and watch Bournemouth versus Manchester United. I expect it's quite a nice day on the south coast for football today. It's been gorgeous in the Midlands, up to about 16, 17 degrees, which is not bad for the middle of March. So without further ado, let's have a look at the team, see how we got on last week. And 79 points for the week, which was not great considering transfers were made. If I just scroll down here, we can see 5 transfers all in all. Out went Rice, Saliba, Munoz, Haaland and Jorgensen. And I still have another move to make this week. So in goal now is Kelleher. That Jorgensen move, it was opportunistic, as I said last time round. The opportunity came and went, and he is now injured apparently. But after his mistakes against Paris in the first game, I doubt he'd be playing anyway. At the back, we have Guéhi, 5 points, Virgil, 5 points, Gabriel, 7, and a no-show from Konate. He was on the bench but played well against Galatasaray on Wednesday. In midfield, Wilson was brought in, didn't do much. Semenyo still there, 2 points. Bruno Fernandes was captain, 16. Gibbs White was brought in. That was with a view to the single game day and also the fixtures that Forest have. And then up front, Ekitike, who I brought in, and then he was benched. And Thiago, the aforementioned, who was 93% captained on Monday. Which slide do we want? Yeah, the insight slide. There he was, Mr. Thiago, 93%. No captain, second best in at 3. Sharda 2, Sarr and Potter at 1 each. The one with Potter did well. So let's have a look at those match centres from last week, see how we got on. So Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0. Obviously no goal scorers, and the only tier 3 was Scott for Bournemouth with the tackles. Sunderland 0, Brighton 1, Minter with a goal, and no tier 3s at all. Arsenal 2, Everton 0. Goal scorers were Gyökeres and Dauman. Saliba with the passes for Arsenal, and Irabigunen with the tackles for Everton. Chelsea 0, Newcastle 1. That was on at the same time on Friday evening. Goal scorers are Gordon for Newcastle. Tier 3s, Chalobah and James with the passes. Chalobah is now injured. Got a question from Melvin about best 3 defenders. We'll tackle that a bit later. I imagine he might have Mr. Chalobah. Newcastle, Gordon with the shots to go along with his goal. The night game was West Ham 1, Manchester City 1. Goal scorers Mavropanos and Bernardo Silva. Tier 3s, Hermansen with 5 saves for a tier 3 for West Ham. We have Gahey, Kusanov, Rodri and Bernardo Silva with tier 3 passes for Manchester City. Sunday games, Palace 0, Leeds 0. No goal scorers and no tier 3s at all. Manchester United 3, Aston Villa 1. What have I done? I clicked on the wrong button. Manchester United 3, Aston Villa 1. Goal scorers Casemiro, he's been on fire. Mateus Cunha and Sesko for United. Ross Barkley for Aston Villa, no tier 3s at all. Forest 0, Fulham 0. No goal scorers, no tier 3s. Barely a tier 2. Only Aina was the only tier 2 of the day. Liverpool 1, Tottenham 1. Liverpool doing their best to make Tottenham look a decent side. And to be fair, they improved on Sunday and they improved again against Atletico on Wednesday. It's the Great Escape on. Well, it's not exactly the Great Escape. They're not in the bottom 3 yet, but you get my drift. So Szoboszlai with the goal and then Richarlison. Tier 3s, Becker with the saves, Van Dijk, Szoboszlai with the passes, and for Tottenham, all Richarlison, shots and tackles. And then Monday Night Football, Brentford 2, Wolves 2, Coyote and Thiago with the goals for Brentford, Armstrong and Arakadari with the goals for Wolves, and no tier 3s. Again, only one tier 2 in the entire game. This is the leaderboard. Let's make sure I get all of those in there. So we have 4 joint 10th places. John Donnelly, Lee Fricker, John Logan in the chat, well done John, and Adam Byram, all on 2,439 points. Joint 8th, Tony Richardson and Glenn Murray, 2,441. 1 point ahead is Jack Bones, Peace and Love, 2,442. Colin Johnston and Tim Barry, joint 5th, 2,445. FPL Vincenzo, otherwise known as Craig Kemp, in 4th, 2,460. Gary Carter with Get Carter, 2,469 in 3rd. Johnny Curry, JC Milan, 2,476. Anybody who hasn't seen JC on the Solio pod this week, well worth a watch. That man is a genius. And still top of the pops is Ryan Welch with Arts and Crafts, 2,488 points. Well done, sir. Okay. Transfer count. We'll do fixtures first. Let's do fixtures first. So this is the current layout. A couple of yellow arrows on the top there. We have had some fixture moves from the 11th to the 12th of April, and the same for the 18th to the 19th. This is because Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace all qualified for their respective UEFA tournament quarter-finals, so their matches need to be moved to Sunday to allow them to play on the previous Thursdays. Nothing else on there has changed, but this is where John's question came in, and he asked, can you clarify the circumstance or circumstance is required that could mean that Crystal Palace v the West Ham fixture moves from a single game day? We can see it there on fixture day 95. Is there a reason why that can move back to the weekend? So the reasoning given by the Premier League is, you can see it there in the middle of the screen, Crystal Palace v West Ham, due to be shown on Sky Sports, 8 o'clock, Monday 20th of April, subject to participation in the FA Cup. Now, West Ham are in the FA Cup, Crystal Palace are not. Now I had a look at Crystal Palace's website, 'cause it's their home fixture, and they say the match is now set to take place on Monday 20th of April, 8 o'clock, at Selhurst Park, and will broadcast live in the UK on Sky Sports, so no change there. But they say, however, this fixture date is subject due to the partition of Palace and West Ham in the UEFA Conference League and FA Cup, respectively. So what does that mean? Well, again, a little bit ambiguous. So if we go back to the fixture, they're due to play here on Monday the 20th of April. Now, we know from last week's discussion, and if we have a look here, this is the week we were looking, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Would FA Cup semi-final fixtures be brought forward to that midweek? Well, yes, we think some will. But then if we go back a bit, with West Ham v Crystal Palace being on that Monday, Crystal Palace are out of the FA Cup, West Ham are in it. Why would the FA Cup make that much difference to that particular fixture? The reason being that here, Crystal Palace are due to play Liverpool on Saturday the 25th of April. Now, if Liverpool reach the FA Cup semi-final, there is a chance that that Liverpool match might have to be brought forward to this midweek. The reason for that being is that Liverpool play Aston Villa on FA Cup final weekend, and if Aston Villa reach the Europa League final, which is played on that midweek after the FA Cup final, then their fixture against Liverpool can't be played on that same week. So they would need to find another week to play that fixture. All very complicated, I'm sure. But the long and short of it, John, is I think, and I stand to be corrected on this, is that if Liverpool against Crystal Palace is brought forward into the midweek before the FA Cup semi-finals, then I think that the Crystal Palace match will be brought forward from Monday to Sunday, and I imagine it'll either be an early or a late kick-off due to the fact there's already games kicking off at 2 o'clock and 4:30 on the Sunday, so that Liverpool against Crystal Palace could be played on the Wednesday, so as not to make anybody play the Thursday before a Sunday FA Cup semi-final. Now, whether that bears true as things pan out in the end remains to be seen, but I can't imagine that West Ham being in the FA Cup semi-final has got anything to do with the Crystal Palace v West Ham game, because West Ham v Leeds can easily be pushed back into the next week, and my provisional fixture has it being played after FA Cup semi-final weekend if need be. So, clear? Probably not, but we can't get much better than a projection. So I think that's what it is. It all depends on Liverpool v Palace, and if it needs to be played that midweek, then I think Crystal Palace v West Ham will be brought forward to the Sunday. We should know by the time we come back for the next Cloud podcast, because the FA Cup quarterfinals will be done Semi-final draw will be made and the fixtures almost certainly will be announced. So I hope that makes sense. So these are the fixture counts. It's one less for near enough everybody now, because we had last weekend's games where there were 4-for-1s available. Still some 3-for-1s available. Whether people want to make transfers this week to make use of them, I think most were probably done last week. As we can see from the transfer count slide, big decreases in these numbers. So the overall now is down to 28, top 100 down to 13.2, top 50 down to 12.5, and the top 10 still going quite strong. They're ahead of the top 50 and the top 100 now at 14.2. Now this comes on to Melvin's question. He says, which of the top 3 defenders, and with these number of transfers, if you've got someone like a Chalobah, you probably need to be making somebody sort of an incomer for most of the season. Melvin asked for the next 3 weeks. So let's have a look at of these stats. Let's find some stats here. I did have this up and I've changed it. So defenders. These are the top scoring defenders. We have Virgil, Jurrien Timber, Gabriel. Chalobah is obviously injured now. Mateus Nunes, Ruben Diaz, Mark Gahey, William Saliba, Van Heck and Mitchell. And then on the next page, Lacroix, Canate, Senesi, Munoz, Cash, Reece James, who's also injured, Konza, Neco Williams, Truffert and Dunk. So if we go back to the fixture ticker and have a look and see who we want to bring in. If we have a look for the next 3 weeks, so we're looking just past these arrows now. The guys that have got sort of good points potential and number of fixtures, we're still probably looking at Van Dijk. A couple of different players that I would consider would be somebody from Brighton. Fair enough, they've got Liverpool coming up. They do have a very good fixture against Burnley. Then they play Tottenham and improving Tottenham. But we think that this Chelsea fixture is going to be brought forward. If it is, then you'll get 4 fixtures. You can move on again. So maybe someone like a Van Heck or a Dunk. And then similarly, I will be looking at Newcastle, maybe Malik Chow, plays Sunderland, then Crystal Palace, then Bournemouth. And we think this Arsenal fixture is going to be brought forward, assuming Arsenal beat Southampton in the FA Cup. So you could have 4 fixtures there and then move on to somebody else when they blank the following weekend. So I hope that helps, Melvin. So let's have a look at Team of the Week. Team of the Week last week, Benitez in goal for Crystal Palace. Shame for anybody still holding Henderson. Mavropanos, Saliba, Bassi and Aina at the back. Gordon, Szoboszlai, Barkley, Bernardo and Minter in the middle. And Mr. Pigeon himself, Richarlison, up front. And for game weeks 26 to 31, so the previous 6, Hermansen. Now, if I'd have brought him in instead of Mr. Jorgensen for the same price, would have been a much better deal. Now, Virgil, Timber and Gabriel in the back 3. Palmer, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Semenyo and O'Reilly in midfield. And João Pedro and Gyökeres up front. So let's have a look at, this is the projected goals and clean sheets from Solio for the week. So, as we said, 8 fixtures. First one tonight is Bournemouth versus Manchester United. I imagine everybody's on Bruno Fernandes or their respective Manchester United captain tonight. So, Bournemouth 1.44 goals, clean sheets 18%. Manchester United 1.72 goals, 24% chance for clean sheet. So 2-1 kind of thing possibly there. Saturday lunchtime, Brighton 1.38, Liverpool 1.58, 21 and 25% respectively for clean sheets. Fulham 1.83 and 42% at home to Burnley 0.87 and 16%. That's the only 3 o'clock. 5:30, Everton 1.19 and 20% against Chelsea 1.59 and 30%. Saturday evening again, so 8 o'clock, Leeds 1.43 and 27% against Brentford 1.31 and 24%. Then the Sunday games, lunchtime as in 12 o'clock, 1.76 and 39% Newcastle at home to Sunderland, 0.95 and 17%. Aston Villa 1.66 and 30% at home to West Ham 1.22 and 19%. Same time, Tottenham against Nottingham Forest, 6-pointer at the bottom, 1.41 Tottenham 27%, 1.31 Forest 24%. So not too many dark blues and dark oranges on this week. I don't think there's going to be many moves made. As I previously stated, I think there might be some for Sunday. Captaincy, I think tonight will be fairly straightforward. It's Manchester United. Little more difficult on Saturday, I think. Depends on who you have. Liverpool players, you'll see the team. We think Salah's not going to be playing for anybody that's brought him in. Fulham against Burnley looks quite good. Those with Wilson, will they be tempted? Everton and Chelsea, battle of the poor records. Chelsea aren't great currently, Everton aren't great at home. And Leeds v Brentford could be a bit of a cricket score, but you don't know which way it's going to go. Okay, so let's have a look at... This is an adaptation of my transfer planner. And what I've done here, 2 ticks. We've had a look at a filter on the club section here, just of everybody that's playing on Sunday. And we're still on the post FA Cup third round game week, so game week 23 onwards, looking at all positions, all prices, and these are the total points scored. And what I've highlighted here, there are only 3 players in double figures for ownership currently, and they are Morgan Gibbs-White on 28%, Elliot Anderson on 20%, and Morgan Rogers on 40%. And looking at it, are they the best options this week? You might say Rogers, but he's not been in great form. Forest have just come back from Midtjylland, having qualified for the Europa League quarterfinals on penalties. But it's not standing out as great day so far. Newcastle, we think, have the best of the fixture, but not too many Newcastle owners. You will see the lineup. Will anybody be tempted in a punt on Newcastle? We can have a look at the calendar here. As we saw previously, we play Sunderland, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, and then the Arsenal fixture we think is going to be brought forward. Then you'll be able to swap to somebody else who's got extra fixtures, maybe like a Palace or a City. So it could be some temptation. Maybe someone like a Gordon could be good. So let's put all of these players back in. So yeah, João Pedro still at the top, then Palmer, Semenyo, Fernandes and Virgil van Dijk. So this brings the chart back in. So João Pedro, since the FA Cup third round, 10 points clear of the next best. Not much change here when we looked last time round, to be honest. And these are the filtered points per 90. So yeah, João Pedro 9.2, Palmer 8.5, one poking his nose up at the middle there, 7.75 is Gyökeres. If we knew he was going to be nailed to start, would we be tempted with Mr. Gyökeres up front? Possibly when Arsenal get the fixtures back in. Got to look at the tier points. So Rodri, Casemiro are the top head of affairs. Garner, 25 points. Then a roadblock between 20 and 22. Look at the ownership. So Bruno Fernandes at the top on 97. Igor Thiago 96. You can see why he was 93% captained on Monday. Virgil van Dijk is now third best in at 81. Ekitike 68. Gabriel 58. Then everybody else is under 50. So Harry Wilson 49. Kelleher 43. A lot brought Kelleher in on Monday. Rodgers 40. Semenyo 37. Raya 37. That's Kelleher and Raya 80% owned of all of the goalkeepers now in the top 100. Chalobah 37. I think that anybody that's got Chalobah will be moving him on. As I suggested, maybe Newcastle defender. They're reasonably cheap. Got the fixtures and you can move on again. Szoboszlai 36. Gahey 33. Enzo 28. Gibbs White 28. Timber 27. Sarr 23. Scored both goals to get Palace through. Haaland 23% only in the top 100 now. Elliot Anderson 20. Mo Salah 16. Shame, I think people brought him in and he was going to be a captain this week. Konate, at least he's playing now again, 15. And Mbeumo 12. Shardy 11. Mateus Nunes 10. And the other Anderson, Joachim Anderson at 9%. And this is their points and the ownership. So Raya, a lot more points than his ownership there. Here's another one sticking right up. Ismail Sarr and Mbeumo. We'll have a look at see the bits that make these tiers tick. So passes per 90, 2 in the green, Rodrigo and Tosin. Will Tosin be getting that Chalobah position? He was cheap as well. One to watch maybe. Don't think anyone's going to be jumping into Chelsea tomorrow. Could be a like for like though. If we get a nod, he's going to play. And then in the orange, we've got Dunk, as I mentioned, for those looking for a defender. Curtis Jones, Saliba, Chalobah, Ruben Diaz, Virgil van Dijk and Nico Gonzalez. Shots. Nobody even in the orange now. Sesko and Haaland the closest at 1.9 and 1.8. Tackles. Ugarte, Polinia, Iragunum and Florentino in the orange. Quite a few in the yellow. And then saves. Again, nobody in the orange now. These tiers are getting difficult to maintain. Quite a few of those keepers aren't even playing. So you need your clean sheet points for your keeper to get some points. Okay, so let's have a quick look at my team. So these are all of the transfers that were made. Gibbs White, Virgil van Dijk, Harry Wilson, Ekitike. Kelleher there, brought in on Monday. No regrets on Kelleher. Definitely some regrets on Jorgensen. So tonight, captain Bruno Fernandes against Bournemouth. Saturday, I haven't filled it in. What am I going to do? So early kickoff, Brighton against Liverpool. I have Virgil van Dijk. I think Brighton will probably score. Liverpool have had sort of the late on Sunday, Wednesday night in the Champions League. Admittedly, it was home, and then early on Sunday. They can go full bore. It's an international break afterwards. They probably could do with the result, but you still might fancy Brighton to score, unless it's one of those really dull 12:30 games. Not a lot happens. 0-0 or 1-0 either way. Virgil will probably get passing, you would think. Harry Wilson, home to Burnley, could be tempted. Extra points as a midfielder for goals. Not on penalties, though. Thiago for Brentford, it's away to Leeds. Leeds have improved. I think they'll score, so it won't be Kelleher. It looks like a three-way toss-up. Virgil van Dijk, Igor Thiago or Ekitike. I think if Ekitike's starting, then I might take a chance on him. And then we have Sunday. And I've put that in the wrong place. Wrong day. What we should be doing here, this is where live TV. I'm going to be moving Gabriel onto Jarrod Bowen. I do have Gibbs White, but I don't fancy him as much as I do Jarrod Bowen. And as we had that sneak preview, I can move that to captaincy on the Friday. It seems like a month off, it nearly is. But the following Friday, when we come back, and this will be the next show, West Ham at home to Wolves. So Jarrod Bowen is going to be captain there. And as I think I mooted last time round, that leaves me enough money in the bank. If Chelsea have their fixture against Brighton move forward, I can move Thiago onto João Pedro. Okay, that is my team. It is just coming to 7:15. I think we'll let everybody toddle off, enjoy some football. And coming up next time, I can't say next week, so it's going to be on Friday the 10th of April, as we preview then Game Week 35, which is the Friday, West Ham v Wolves, 6 games on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and a Monday night football, Manchester United v Leeds. I bet the Manchester Police are delighted they've got that on a Monday when it might be warming up a bit, just after the Easter holidays as well. So yeah, as we do international breakup, thanks very much for watching, everybody. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you want to subscribe to the channel again, please do. If you want to make use of the transfer planner that we've utilised throughout the show, you'll find that over on Patreon, patreon.com, Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show. In the meantime, enjoy the weekend, enjoy the weather, enjoy the football, enjoy the EFL Cup final, and we will see you after Easter. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.